earnings. It's early, right?
It is.
Earnings is always a good season for economists and people in general who are in the financial field.
Absolutely. We really look forward to this. Thankfully, we have it 4 times a year. So every quarter we have this earnings season. And it's basically like a 3 to 4 week period of time in which a lot of the companies within the S&P 500, especially when they are reporting their results for the previous quarter. Now, any given day, there are probably some companies out there that are reporting the earnings. But we talk about the season because it's really about those big 500 as opposed to the about 5,000 companies out there that are reporting throughout the year. Coming into this season, expectations were kind of low, at least relative to the first quarter. First quarter expectations and the results came in close to about 13% earnings growth. Now it's coming in, the expectation, at around 5%. So a marked slowdown, but still positive, and I think that's a good thing.
Is this all related to tariffs?
Oh, yes, it is. Yep. Tariffs are really the big bugaboo here, where tariffs and the knock-on effects from them. So not just about whether or not prices are going up for the businesses, but what is that doing to consumer spending, sentiment, how people's real incomes. So if you think about your income adjusted for inflation, are things more expensive relative to what you're earning? And there has been a slowdown. So it hasn't been just about prices, but also volumes or economic activity. That's where so far so good with earnings season. That's really from the banks. Some of the big banks, they released their earnings, came in better than expected. And what I found interesting is a number of them announced that they're going to be entering or expanding into this premium credit card area. If you've seen the commercials for like the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the American Express, they have their different levels. Well, now Wells Fargo wants to enter that space. Citigroup is going to be launching something. MasterCard in general is trying to promote this as well. And that points to the divergence between upper income individuals who might qualify for these premium cards and then, the hoi polloi like the rest of us.
Nice to see that some of the headlines had said that it doesn't look like the recession is going to happen anytime soon.
Correct.
And it's a growth time.
It is, where we've seen that reacceleration. So industrial production, retail sales, these were numbers that only back in May were indicating that, gosh, maybe the early stages of a recession. It wasn't pervasive enough, so broad-based enough, or persistent enough where it would qualify as a recession. But we did have a decline in manufacturing activity, retail sales back in May, but a decent but not spectacular bounce back in June.
Consumer confidence came in on Friday, flat as a pancake.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge change, but at least it didn't go down.
Well,
and I think that's the key
right?
thing.
I mean, really, we just keep hearing all this talk.
There's so much negativity out there, and the news flow does influence sentiment. And that's why, as an economist, I always like to look at what do people do, not just what they say. Obviously, we would like there to be a consistency between those two, but there's very little predictive power in consumer sentiment and consumer confidence to help you figure out what are they going to do next? How are people going to spend money? And maybe part of that is, people engage in retail therapy. So you spend money when you're happy, and then you spend money when you're sad as well.
Well, I need a new garage door, so I'm just going to spend money because I have to.
Well,
and
that's
it's one
true.
of these things that, you just grin and bear it. I think we learned that when inflation was so high. What are you going to do if you need something?
Well, and that's very true. And so what happens is it's more on the margin. If you think about you as an individual, you are going to make that decision like, okay, I still have to buy it. But are you going to shop around a little bit more, like go to a different provider? Are you going to wait a month? So postpone it. And when you think about if you have hundreds of millions of individuals making these small adjustments on the margin, it does really add up.
The one place that I do see impacted, because people are still spending, but it looks like travel might cut back a little bit.
Yeah, that's been the sore spot, I think, in the economy lately, where travel has really declined. We've seen that also in the consumer price index. It was one of the components of the consumer price index where you saw a big drop in airline fares and then also hotels. That's in the, they call it the accommodations category. So those declined because of weak demand, but that was then what's happening next, and that's the key. So last week, Delta, they had reported earnings. United Airlines, they reported earnings, and they indicated that it seems like people are maybe getting numb to all of this drama, and they're beginning to take trips again.